Ladies and gentlemen,
no more bets.
The 007th 007 has allegedly been cast, and it is none other than fan favourite Edward Thomas Hardy, CBE. That's Tom Hardy to you and me. Well, according to the Vulcan reporter anyway, and those guys tend not to make many mistakes. Naturally enough, this has not been officially confirmed by the people behind Bond, who are probably looking at Tenet's box office, $250 million takings against a $200 million budget, according to Wikipedia, which means it lost a shed load of money in the real world as advertising costs tend to double a film's budget. The fact that Mulan is a box office bomb for so many terrible reasons, and given that it seems the UK and France's websites for Marvel's Black Widow have switched the film's release date to coming soon after a report earlier this week that the film would be delayed, which I fully believe, and wouldn't be surprised if it went straight to Disney Plus, means that Bond would, if Black Widow got pushed back, be the last remaining big film this year. As far as I'm concerned, anyway. Hell, even the new Halloween film got moved back by a calendar year instead of going straight to video on demand, so I'd imagine that releasing a response to this story is very, very far down the list when you're not done with the current Bond before beginning to grapple with the next one. Basically, I'd be very, very surprised if the official announcement came this side of 2021. But let's imagine this report is true, that the next James Bond is indeed Tom Hardy. What would that be like? Because physically, Hardy would be an amazing Bond, and don't just take my word for it, or even Google Tom Hardy tuxedos. Back in 2018, Pierce Brosnan, who played Bond between 1994 and 2005, told the Daily Mail he believed Hardy could play the British spy well. Quote, "Daniel Craig has been an incredible Bond. He's very physical, he looks lethal. You genuinely believe this is someone who could kill a man," he said. "He's complained about doing the part because he's put himself through a lot physically, but he will do the next movie, and then I think Tom Hardy could be a good Bond. I'd be happy to see him do it. You need an actor who can put a bit of wiggle into it. That's what makes Bond." Now, I certainly feel that Hardy could handle the physical as well as the range to deal with what few emotions this extremely dull and interesting man to whom things happen possesses. Oh, that's not my wife's opinion, by the way, that was Fleming's. Worship him, worship him, worship him. Now, it's true that Hardy has a certain coldness to him, but that's fine. Book Bond is by no means a barrel of laughs. He's a cold-blooded killer who doesn't do remorse, and making love with rather cold passion to one of three similarly dispossessed married women whenever he's in London, which I think Hardy could manage. Yeah, Book Bond is indeed a spectacularly unpleasant individual. The man doesn't even drink tea, calling it mud and blaming it for the downfall of the British Empire. He prefers to drink coffee, preferably Blue Mountain Jamaican coffee. I am uncertain as to Hardy's preference on caffeinated beverages. But leaving aside the fact that Hardy would probably be the second best Bond, assuming he doesn't require Bond to spend the entire film with his face covered, what is Hardy's deal with that anyway? There are some issues with this potential casting. For a start, Hardy just turned 43. Assuming he gets announced next year, there's going to be at least 2 years until the next Bond. That means that Hardy will be making his debut at roughly age 45. Now, that's not so bad, although Sean Connery was 32 when Dr. No was released in 1962 and played him until he was 41. He returned at 53 in these separately produced and frankly unwatchable Never Say Never Again. But actors playing 007 have generally been in their 40s. Roger Moore went from 45 to 58, Timothy Dalton 41 to 43, Pierce Brosnan 42 to 49, and Daniel Craig has gone from 38 to 51/52. And I know that age is meaningless given that Cruise is still making Mission Impossible films at 58 with at least 2 more to come, but the last thing the franchise needs is another situation like the last few Roger Moore films. Assuming that Eon want the new Bond to hang around for at least 3 films, it's not hard to imagine that Hardy would be north of 50 by the end of his spin in the tuxedo. Personally, I'd opt for someone in their early to mid-30s, the age that Bond is in the books, so that if they're popular, you can squeeze more films out of them if needs be. Secondly, Tom Hardy is very busy. He's not only signed up for at least 2 more Venom films, as well as possible cameos in the MCU if the need arises, he's also signed up for 3 more Mad Max films.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
According to IMDb, he has at least 1 other film in pre-production. Hardy simply might be too busy for Bond. Not me though, I'm free. There's also the issue that, well, Tom Hardy is Tom Hardy. He's an A-lister, and that comes with both pluses and minuses, but it's something that franchise hasn't done or had to deal with before. Craig's highest profile role pre-Bond was in British gangster film Layer Cake. You should check it out, it's awesome. Lazenby was a model. Brosnan worked in TV. Hardy's been in some of the biggest films in recent cinema. He'd do a lot to boost the visibility of a franchise at risk of being drowned in a sea of endless annual franchises or countless near-monthly releases of lycra-clad fashion disasters, but Do you really want one of the oldest and most profitable franchises in cinematic history to cast someone already portraying 2 iconic characters and will be doing so for the foreseeable future, on top of already portraying at least 2/3 other iconic characters in Bane, the Kray twins, and Charles Bronson? Surely someone less associated with other brands would be a better idea. Look, summing up, there's no doubt that Hardy could do the role and do it incredibly well, and assuming Eon could make their films quicker, they might be able to make more use of him whilst he's still in his prime. But he's a very busy man who's already associated with several other pop culture icons, so whilst I'm still very, very Team Hardy, and were they to hire someone with a slightly lower public profile, say Richard Madden, that might be a better idea in the long term. But like I say, the Bond team have the nightmare of dealing with No Time to Die's release schedule first for announcing whoever will don the tuxedo. On one level though, this doesn't matter to me. They could cast James Corden and I'd still be there opening night with repeat viewings in mind. But I do have faith that whoever they cast, it'll be awesome and they'll absolutely kill it. But what do you guys think, and who do you want to play James Bond? Comment below, let me know. I'm Daniel, it's been a dunking. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe.